Well, this one's going to make a very interesting project. This is a 2017 RZR570, and we actually just picked this up from the dealership. So I got this thing for $2,200, unheard of price. Brand new, these sold for $13,000. And right now in my area, these go for $7,000, $8,000. So $2,200 is very, very cheap for this unit. And the dealership said they got it as a repo buy. They took one look at it and decided to message me, and they said, "Do you want to buy this thing? It's pretty rough." I said, "I'll pay $2,200 for it." They said, "Come grab it." And I got there to the dealership, and it's a little rougher than I thought. I mean, for 2017, somebody just beat on this thing bad. From far away, it looks pretty decent, but as you get closer, it gets worse and worse and worse. So let's kind of walk through it. Obviously, it does not run. The dealership said it probably has low compression. That's what the ad said when they bought it. So they didn't look into anything. They got it, probably marked it up $1,000, and then messaged me asking if I wanted to buy it. But yeah, she's rough. So let's start with the pipe on it. That's just flopping there. So the weld broke right there, and it looks like the silencer is like a homemade silencer. The whole pipe looks kind of like it was made aftermarket for this thing. So that's just flopping there. I noticed that the CV axle here is junk, so that's probably not good. The one over here feels good. Plastics ripped off here. Tires are completely bald. I'm guessing the clutch belt is probably smoked. Doors aren't too bad. The seats are ripped right there and right there. That's pretty common on these. Got the bungee cord holding the roof on. See, all the plastic has little rips in it, scratches in it. Front tires are bald. The CV axle there is wobbly. Has aftermarket lights on it. That one's pretty good. So far the tires are holding air, which is amazing. The engine doesn't appear to be leaking anything. I've had this on the trailer for a couple hours, and it hasn't leaked at all, so hopefully that's tight and good. I'm guessing the whole engine needs a rebuild, but we'll see. Yeah, nothing looks like it's been touched. You can see all the bolts there still have the dirt in them. So if the dealership had taken it apart, those all would have been clear of that dirt. See that? So they were telling the truth there. I don't think they looked at it at all. And why would they? It's not worth their time. So taking a look on the inside, he just went mudding with this thing and probably wrecked it. The shifter's falling off. It's got the aftermarket knob on there. It does turn on. See how many miles we have. I think that's the trip. I hear the fuel pump going. 5,032 miles. So that's getting up there. It does crank over. Let's go. Let's just see what it does. We're in park right now. You can hear it turning over. You can hear it popping out of the exhaust. So she cranks, but won't fire. You can crank it all day. So, yeah, that's kind of the story on this one. So that's pretty much all we know on this thing, is that it was a repo, the dealership bought it, sold it to me, and I think it's low compression. That's kind of all we have to go off of. So we are going to attempt to get this one running and driving today. Hopefully the engine is okay, but worst case scenario, we have to rebuild it. And if we're in 2,200 bucks, we still have a lot of wiggle room there. So let's get this one off the trailer, start digging into it, see what we find. Of course it's pouring rain out right now. How fun. But we finally got this in the garage. Let's start tearing into it. So I think the first thing we're gonna check is the coolant up here. See if there's anything in here. And we'll kind of go through the whole thing, see what's going on. That angle here, actually just pull it out. This is bone collector on there. Huh. We're checking the coolant first because we want to check the head gasket. Oh, there's some in there. Yeah, it's tapped off pretty good. So the dealership said this thing had low compression. That's why it was repoed. I guess the guy probably just stopped making payments once he found out it wouldn't start. So then the bank took it and they auctioned it off to the dealership. And the dealership bought it for probably 500 bucks and then sold it to me. So what we're gonna do is attempt to start this thing up, and if the head gasket's blown, we're gonna see coolant just spurting out of here because that pressure builds up in the cylinder and it will just push right out. And if the head gasket's blown, obviously pressure and compression can get by that cylinder and work its way into the ports here where the coolant is. So let's give it a go. Hopefully this is not the case. I'm hoping it's not a blown head gasket here. We will see. I don't see anything coming out. Let that pressure build up. Nope. So I don't think it's a blown head gasket. That's good. So sorry if it's hard to kind of see in here, but this is what it looks like without the light. Is that better or worse? I don't know. But let's get the light in there. Let's see if I can put it up here. A little bit better. All right, so right in there is the oil. Let's try to see what that looks like. With 5,000 miles on it, I'm guessing this thing probably smoked. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. I'm just kind of seeing if there's any metallic flakes in there. It's hard to tell. I thought I saw something that was a little copper looking color right there, which would mean it was a rod bearing or something that went. Alright, let's see here. Let's see what the level is. It's a little bit low, but it's pretty darn close. Yeah, I'm not seeing any flakes in it yet, which is good. So oil checks out. Doesn't smell like gas at all either. All right, oil checks out, coolant checks out so far. So far so good. Let's see if all the lights work and everything. So turn this thing on. See if any codes pop up here too. All right, you can see 5,032 miles. It's kind of not very clear. For some reason the camera's not picking it up. There's the trip. You can see the gas gauge is working, neutral light's working, seat belt's working. RPM, temperature 39. That's the voltage on the battery. You can see the lights are working. So all the lights are working. See if the tail lights are working. Tail lights don't appear to be working. Right in the corner there. On. So everything appears to be working properly. Let's turn it over one more time and see what it sounds like. You can hear it kind of puff out the exhaust there. Yeah, we're not getting anything. Maybe reach back there. Oh, there we go. So there's the plug right there. Easy access. It's kind of nice. See if we can see anything down there that's crunchy. Taking a look in here. There's definitely oil getting to the top end. I can see the cam right there. That looks pretty decent. We'll take off this cover in a little bit. But let's get the plug out first and check for spark. That could be the problem right there. Maybe a fuse blew. I don't want to get water in there. Let's put this cap back on and take a air compressor, blow that out. Looks like. So a lot of times we can tell if that rod bearing's bad by the plug. Sometimes the rod bearing's so bad that the piston comes up and hits the actual plug and bends the little tab on the plug. So we'll see. I wasn't hearing any knocking sounds when turning over the engine, but sometimes you don't hear the knocking until you start this thing up. And usually with a bad rod bearing, it'll still run. It'll just sound horrible. So we'll see. I'm hoping the bottom end is fine. There we go. Oh, that's good. Plug doesn't look horrible. NGK MR7F. We'll have to see if that's fouled out too. But let's try to check for spark. See what we get. Alright, here we go. Turn this thing over. I just have a feeling it doesn't have spark. Even though we heard it puff over. Maybe sporadic. Oh, really good spark. Alright, well, we definitely have spark. You guys could probably see that clear as day. Very blue, very consistent. So that is not the problem at all. So we're on there pretty good. Alright, air box has some dirt in it. See what the filter looks like. Ooh. Oh. It's pretty bad. That's not good. There's a lot of sand in there. That is horrible. So now I'm kind of thinking maybe that piston got crunched from all the sand that got sucked in. Let's see if there's anything in the intake. No, it may be prevented all that sand from getting in there. The back of the filter has a little bit here. So I don't know. It doesn't look like that was sealing properly. Hopefully that piston's not all scraped up. Alright, well, let's do a compression test, get that over with. So if compression is low, it could be a couple different things. It could be the rings are shot, piston shot, or the valves are bent, or out of spec. Let's see what we get. Now this thing's gonna have a decompression mechanism, so it won't be super high compression, but it should be above 50. All right, we're gonna do throttle open. See what we get here. That's not good. I don't think we got anything. A little bit. Not a whole lot. Let's try it one more time. Try it without throttle open this time. Now try it with throttle open. Yeah, that's definitely low. What do we have here? We have about 10, 20 PSI. Exactly 20. So it needs to be probably 60, 70 at least. So we definitely have something going on. So what we're gonna do first is put a bunch of oil down there and see if the rings are worn out. All right, we've got some oil in a bottle here. Just gonna put that down there. All right, and we're gonna try this again. See what we get now. If it shoots way up, we know it's most likely an issue with the rings. All right, we'll do throttle open. Here we go. Huh. I went up to like 25. Almost, yeah, about 25 PSI, so barely shot up. We're gonna try that test one more time. We're gonna get a little bit more oil. Dump it down. All right, we poured a bunch down. Let's see what we get. We're gonna try without throttle open here. Oh, that shot up a little bit. We're almost at 50 right there. So that definitely shot up. So what we're gonna do is just put the spark plug back in it and just see if it has enough compression to pop over here. And let's see if we have enough. All right, let's see what happens. Might get lucky here. Nope. Nothing. You can see it smoking out of the exhaust down here. It's trying to start. It's trying to go. So what we're gonna do is quick check the fuel pump before we go ahead and take a look at the valves. The fuel pump we can check by taking off the gas line here. I want to see if it's getting gas to the injector. And then we can actually take the injector out and see if it's spraying. Alright, this bar in the way kind of makes it tricky. I don't think you can take that off until you take the bed off, so we'll have to work around it for now. This thing comes off here. Alright. Probably gonna spray me. Alright, so we can test and see if that pump's working. You guys take a close look at that. It should be pouring out of here. Let's see what happens. I'll probably hold the cup. See what the fuel looks like too. Pump looks like it's working good. Gas looks a little gross. Maybe it doesn't look too bad. It's a little foggy. Not horrible. Now we're looking for any water in the gas. I don't see any. So that checks out. It's not too bad. So we're getting gas to the injector. Is the injector spraying? So the injector is right down here. I don't know if we can get to that or not. That bolt fell. Got her out though. This whole unit out. It doesn't want to come. There we go. It's coming now. Alright. So there's the injector right here. It's got the O-ring around there. That was nice and tight. So this should be misting as you try cranking it over. If it's like a stream, something's clogged in here. One of those little holes. So pressure could be off as well. So we're gonna hook this up. The gas line back on here. Put that back on. And then we'll see if she's misting here. Here we go, we're gonna crank it, it should mist. Yep, it's misting pretty good. You guys can see it spraying a really fine mist. That's exactly what we want to see. So I don't think there's any problem with the fuel delivery system. So we might be able to get the valve cover off without taking the whole bed off. I'm hoping. So there's a bolt here, here, and here. I think we can just lift that right off. Without the injector in there, should make it pretty easy. Really don't want to strip these out because they're a pain to get out once you strip them. You basically have to drill them out and tap them. That cover. There we go. Let's see if we can get it off through here. Might not be able to. Oh yeah. Cover doesn't look too bad. Got the gasket here coming off. All right. Let's take a peek in here. So cam chain, it's actually really nice and tight. Cam lobe here looks really smooth. That one over there looks really good. Decompression mechanism is working. See it springing back. Huh. So we could just have a tight valve here. Everything looks pretty good. Not seeing any metal chunks in there or anything like that. So what we're gonna do is get this thing to top dead center and then we can check the valve clearances. Maybe they just have to be shimmed. All right, coming down here, the crank position sensor is that black cap with the two bolts in it right there. We have to take that off so we can see the mark on the flywheel. You can see it above here. Comes out like that. All right, we're trying to turn the engine over, but as we start the machine, gas just pours out of the line here. So there's no way of really turning it up at the cam either. Down here, there's no way of turning the crank over here because you've got the water pump on this side. So let's go to the clutch side, see if we can get that off and see if we can turn it over here. Probably want to check out the clutch anyway. It's really far back there. Alright, can the cover come off? Got grease fitting in the way. There we go. Little gunk in there. Doesn't look too bad. Looks like the stock clutch. Take a closer look in here. Yeah, everything looks stock. Belt doesn't look awful. But now we can turn the engine, see, with the clutch. So let's go up here, see where we need to turn it. You can see the cams have marks on it as well, up there. So these lines need to be parallel to the surface here. And then we have to find the T down in this circle here on the flywheel. There we go. Well, there's a clear picture. Until we find the mark we're looking for. There's a mark right there. That's not the one we're looking for. And the lobes will be pointing away from each other. Should be coming up here. Timing could be off too. Let's see. Just skip past it. I think there's the arrow right there. The left side over here, you can kind of see the arrow poking through. See that? And if you look at the lobes here, see this lobe's pointing that way, that lobe's pointing that way. That's what you want to see. If they're pointing towards each other, you're on the wrong stroke. So we are good there. And then looking down into the hole here, you can see the piston. So we are in fact at top dead center. Let's check our cam. Yep, look at that. So on the cam, you can see I with a line. Those lines are parallel to the surface there. And over here you can see E and E for exhaust. That's the exhaust cam. And then you can see those lines are perfectly parallel to the surface there. So we are at top dead center. We can now check our valves. All right, so the valve clearances for a 2017 Polaris RZR570. For the intake, we're gonna be 5 to 7 thousandths of an inch. And exhaust is going to be 6 to 10. Let's check them. Start at 5 on the intake. Let's see if those slide in. Intake is this side right here. And that one's tight. And that one's tight. So let's go down to 2 thousandths of an inch. That one's tight. That one's tight. I think we've got really tight intake valves. Let's go down to, I think that was my lowest setting here, actually. Yep, so definitely tight intake valves on this one. Doesn't slide in at all. Let's check the exhaust. So we're gonna start out at 6 for the exhaust, see if that slides in. Yep. Exhaust valves feel good. Let me go to 7. Yep. That one slides in. Let's go to 8. Actually, we'll go to 9. Nope. Nope. Let's go to 8. I think it's going to be set at 8. Which is going to be perfect, right in the middle. Yep. That one just slides in. So exhausts are at 8 thousandths of an inch. I'm guessing the intake are at 0. We're assuming they're at 0. 2 thousandths of an inch does not fit in. So what we're going to do is re-shim these. Hopefully I have the correct shims. And this has to come out and this cam chain has to come off. So we can lift that cam out of there and get the shims out of the buckets. These up first. tricky to get to. Oh, I just dropped that down the engine. That's not good. All the way down in here. Hoping I can get that out. That's not good. That bolt just made its way all the way down there. Shoot. Oh, that sucks. Well, we might have to get that out after. Shoot. So, somehow we dropped that all the way in. That's not good. Try not to do it with this one either. Probably should have just taken off the bed. I guess they're pretty easy to drop in, aren't they? Alright. This whole thing can come off. Now we should be able to get that off like that. Alright. Now we're going to remove this cam. We might have to remove the tensioner too to make this work. I'm gonna see where that bolt is down there. I wanna push it further in. I think I already did. So I can try to fish that bolt out that dropped in. So here is bucket number 1. And it looks like the buckets have the shim attached to them. See that? So you actually have a 515 and a 488. The 515 was on the left, the 488 was on the right. Now for testing purposes, what we can do is just grind these down just a little bit and try to make those even, and then install them and see if we're getting the clearance. But we're gonna have to order up new buckets and test them out, which is a bummer because new buckets with shims are really expensive and you don't really know the size you're supposed to have because we're at 0 right now, so you can't get a feeler gauge in there to test them. So it kind of makes it a pain in the butt. I was hoping there'd actually be shims in there that we could use, but there are not. So we're just going to take off a little bit at a time, test them. I think we got her. Oh, finally. That only took about an hour. That was jammed between the chain and the gear down below. So I was trying to fish that out. Took a wire down there, moved it around, got it free, and then took our magnet. And I was able to fish that out of there. So now we've got the shim buckets here. And let's see. The bigger one was for the right. This is the 515. The smaller one was for the left. This is the 488 shim. So we're taking a Dremel and we're going to take off just a small amount of material and then we'll test them once we do that. And this is just a temporary fix. Obviously we're going to buy new ones for it once we know it works. But yeah, this is 488. We're going to just trim this down a little bit. Let's see if we can do her. 2.97, that one's at. Let's see what this one's at. 2.46. So we're just gonna take off a little bit of this. All right, let's test them out. We got them back on, clamp back down. We're gonna start out at 5 thousandths. See what we get. Oh, that one slides right in. That one's perfect. Let's see if 6 slides in. Nope. So 5 is perfect there. So we're not going to touch that one. Left side is perfect. Let's see if 5 slides on the other side. That was really lucky. Nope. So nothing sliding in here. Let's go down to 3 thousandths. I think this one is really tight. Nope, so that one's still not sliding in. We're gonna take these back out. Left side's good. We're going to take off a little bit more material on the right hand side here. All right, we trimmed that one back a little bit. Now check this out. We've got the 5 thousandths feeler gauge in there. Just slips right in. Just catches. So that one is perfect as well. So we're gonna time everything back up, get this thing all back together, see if she fires up. Bolt in. Like that. Get these all started. Sure that's flush. Feels good. All right, coming up here, you can see the intake line is there, parallel with the surface, and then the other eye intake line is parallel. And then same with the exhaust. So when you push into the cam chain tensioner hole, it should stay the same. And you can see it's perfect right there. So our timing is perfect. We just want to make sure that our mark, our arrow mark, is still lined up. Yep. Right in the hole right there, you can see the arrow. Our timing's spot on. We can tighten everything back down. Now we're just gonna go tighten everything. All right, we're gonna install the tensioner. And this is all it is. There's just a dowel with a spring in here that contracts. All right, now we're going to put a little bit of the gasket maker on here. And then this one as well. Just like this. All right, we got everything back on here. Let's take another compression test and see if compression shot up now that the intake valves are shimmed correctly. We're hoping it's right in like the 70 PSI range here. We've got the gas hooked up. Clutch cover still off. Got the crank position sensor in. Everything looks like it's good to go. We've got the cam chain tensioner on. All right, let's give it a go. Throttle open. Here we go. Look at that. 170. Oh, that shot way up. So I don't know if the decompression mechanism's not working, but we have 170 PSI. That's a little better. All right, let's get a spark plug back in. See if she fires up here. What do you guys think? Will she fire up? I think she'll fire up, but will it sound good is the question. Hopefully we don't have a rod knock. All right, here we go. We now have 170 PSI for compression. We're getting awesome spark and we're getting fuel to the cylinder. We know it's spraying with that injector. So there's no reason this thing shouldn't fire up. Let's give it a go. Nothing. Huh. All right, doesn't want to go for some reason. All right, injector wire was unplugged. It was just dangling there. Let's try this again. Oh yeah, she fired up. It's loud. Running pretty good. See if she wrapped out. Wrapped out pretty good. Yeah, not having that exhaust hooked up is not good. It is extremely loud. So we're gonna have to get that welded up ASAP. But yeah, let's see if she fires right back up. All right, fired right back up. Clutch is spinning. Secondary not, that's good. That's working. Cool. No knocking at all. Engine sounds pretty decent. Let's see what the temp is. Well, definitely was the valves. I can't believe there's not a rod knock. We might get really lucky with this one. So it's definitely the valves causing it not to run. Tight intake valves. Most common issue with these things. Alright, here's the exhaust. I think even if we hook that up, it wouldn't do anything. Look at all the holes in it. It's all welded there. Welds up here, just clamped onto there. So I think that thing's trash. I mean, it is really rough. There's water in there too. Back over here, you can see all the welds that were on there. Really nice welds. So somebody welded that up, and then it must have just, I'm guessing, was the wrong exhaust for it, and it blew it off of there. So we definitely need a new exhaust system for it. All right, let's do a quick oil change on it. See what this oil looks like. It's probably never been changed before. All right, the drain bolt is right there. So let's get that out and take a peek at that oil. Looks pretty gross in there. So hopefully there's no chunks. All right, here's the engine oil. It's not milky at all. I'm not seeing any chunks or metallic flakes anywhere, so that checks out. We're gonna add 2 quarts of fresh oil and get this changed out. We're using 10 to 40. Get that dumped in. All right, now that we have fresh oil in it, we're gonna start it up, let it warm up, and we're gonna test and see if the cooling system's working. So I believe the fans turn on about 204 degrees on these machines. So we're gonna let it warm up until it hits that. See if the fan kicks on, see if the coolant is circulating in the engine. Start this thing up. You can let this idle for a bit now. Lights are working. This line is just starting to get hot here. We're at 168. Let's see if they're hot up here. Still really cold. Really cold. Really cold. Alright, this line's finally getting warm. Right here. So, the water pump is working. It's really not going above 172. So, our cooling system's definitely working. We'll have to test out the fan once we really give it a good ride, but I think it's working fine. It's really nice and warm now. Cool. Well, that's working. All right, we can't get this thing past 174 degrees, so the fan doesn't come on until over 200. So, cooling system obviously is working. I don't know if that's a bigger radiator for this thing. Maybe that's why it's taking so long. But I let this thing run for like 30 minutes, and these hoses are just starting to get warm. So, yeah, that's gotta be an oversized radiator, is what I'm guessing. But yeah, this hose is getting nice and warm right here. So I know that the pump is working, otherwise this hose would never get warm. So I'm guessing the fan probably will turn on if this thing ever does get up past 200 degrees. But we'll have to check that once we take it for the first ride and really rev her out. All right, back here is the transmission fill plug. We're gonna take that out and see if fluid is right up to the thread marks. If it's not, we'll add some. And the drain is right underneath there. 8mm. Now fluid should just start pouring out here. It should be right to the thread marks right here. Let's see. Yeah, it's right there. You can see. So fluid is at the perfect level. It looks pretty clear. All right, before we attempt to ride this thing, we need to fix the back axle here. So as you can see, there's a lot of play in there. And the boot is ripped right down there as well. So let's see what's going on behind there. We're gonna take off the wheel. That's pretty bad. That doesn't look good. Wow. Teeth in there still look good. Ooh, there's a lot of play in there. Look at that. So this isn't even moving. That's not even spinning right here. Look at that. That's how much play there is. It's not even spinning. That is crazy. It's so bad. Look, there's no grease in there at all. Holy cow. All the balls are out of it, all the ball bearings. I've never seen that before. Wow, look at that. So there's supposed to be ball bearings in here that ride in here. They go into here, so that rides like that. Yeah, nothing. So those just basically disintegrated probably. Wow. Oh boy. Try and get this axle out. This whole thing's falling too. Oh boy. Of course, I just turned off my camera. One big pull, we got that sucker to come out. I sprayed that heavily with penetrating oil and you can see it got in there. I think that helped it out. So what I did was push all the way in, one big pull out, and she finally came. So let's check out the hub area for that. You can see that's where it was, right in there. Doesn't look too bad. That's good. Looks like with this one too, you can actually go right through to the other axle, so you can actually pound it through if it gets stuck. That's kind of nice. But we got that one out. That one's free. So now we have to order up a new one. This one was absolutely horrible. So I'm thinking what happened is the boot broke, and then all the grease that was in there came out of it, and then eventually the ball bearings stopped working. Those broke down, fell out, and then the rest was history. So at least we were able to get out of the transmission. That was the main goal. I think we need some new brake pads too. Check these out. Jeez. It's not even safe. Those are so worn out. That's crazy. Well, unfortunately, we can't really go any further with it because in order to ride this thing, we need the rear CV axle. So we're gonna order that up along with brake pads. We need a new pipe, and I think that's pretty much it. The shift knob probably too. This one is kind of falling apart. So we'll order up a new shifter knob. And this thing should be set to go for the first ride. Oh, probably new tires too. These are really getting down there. So tires, pipe, CV axle, brake pads, and this one should be good to go. Surprisingly, this thing ran today. I did not think it was going to be possible. I thought for sure for this price, it'd be a blown up engine. But somehow, some way, it was just the valves causing this thing to have low compression. So we really lucked out there. So hopefully next video, we can get everything back together and this thing will actually move. But hopefully you guys enjoyed picking this one up for 2,200 bucks, diagnosing it, and then doing the first start on it. I was just really happy to hear this thing fire up. I could not believe it. So stay tuned for next video when we take this thing for the first rip. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next one. And until next time, we are out.